I'm Jos Roozen from RadioGardenSense.com. A lot of people bring in houseplants they have problems with, and here's an example. The leaves have water-soaked edges, and that's an indication that most likely the plant was overwatered, not just one time but several times. So what happens over here on the top will also be a problem on the bottom. Plant roots should be somewhat whitish instead of kind of brown like this, and also these roots, these white roots, they should have white tips, but these plant roots here, they're brown, the tips are brown, so the plant roots are just as damaged as the tops here. And what happened is these plants were watered too much, and then when you water too much, it drives the oxygen out of the soil, and then the hair roots suffocate and they'll give up. And then what happens over here shows up on the top. So the damage is bigger at the root system level than the top level. What we're going to do is, in order to repair it, we'll have to water the plant less often. So we take a quart of water, we use lukewarm water, so no cold water, because also a plant in the winter time, it's a little cooler in the house, they drink less, and most people keep on watering it the same way as in the summertime. That is wrong. You need to water less, use lukewarm water. Then what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up with a quart of water. We take hydrogen peroxide, and we add 3 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide in that quart of water. We also take this product, and that's a biostimulant. It's organic roots. We take 1 tablespoon of this organic roots and we add it to that quart of water. We stir it all up, and then we water this plant maybe once every 10 days. So we water it less than we used to before, because the plant is sick, and the plant is, I would say it's not comatose, but it's slowed down a lot. So we're going to water it a lot less. We can put it on a program that you water it once a week, but then you water less once a week. So we water a lot less, probably about 50% less than we normally do. And we're going to continue doing this all the way down till early March. So we're not going to feed it, like normally we would feed the houseplants in Peters 20-20-20. We're not going to do that. It's like you have an ulcer, you're not going to eat a lot. The plant too, this fertilizer has a very high salt index, and we're going to feed the plant with hair roots, without hair roots, and those hair roots will pick up the fertilizer, and since they don't have any hair roots, they cannot pick up the fertilizer. And if you put more of this fertilizer in the pot, the salinity or the salt index of the soil rises, and then the plant can never repair itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to just water less, lukewarm water, or use lukewarm water, hydrogen peroxide, 3 tablespoons, a tablespoon of organic roots in the same quart of water, and then we water it. And we water it again, what I said earlier, about once every 10 days. You have to make this concoction fresh, because the hydrogen peroxide will evaporate out of the water. So if you make this concoction and you put it away to the side, the organic roots may stay in there, but the hydrogen peroxide comes out of there. So we're going to always make it fresh. There's another example what a lot of people have trouble with is a Chinese evergreen, and here this plant looks kind of pathetic too, but it looks entirely different. It looks like the whole leaf is kind of water soaked. And the problem with this plant is it was kept in a north-faced window in a cold windowsill, and the root system got cold. And again, the results are the same. Most likely these roots are, again, the tips are brownish, although the roots are white, but the tips, I don't see any hair roots on there. It just all of a sudden just stops. There should be fuzz on the end of the roots. So this plant is not quite as damaged as this Chinese evergreen, as this peace lily, but this is the beginning of rot in the roots. So we caught this somewhat in time, although the plant doesn't look all that healthy. What we're going to do is we're going to take these leaves off, and then we're going to do the same thing with the peace lily. We'll give it less water. We use the quart of water, the hydrogen peroxide, 3 tablespoons per gallon, and we use a tablespoon of roots in that same quart of water, and we water them with that. And this Chinese evergreen doesn't need nearly as much water normally as the peace lily does. So the Chinese evergreen will only be fed water maybe once every 2 weeks. And then in the springtime, when you have more light again and things get warmer, then we resume feeding and we assume that the roots are repaired. We resume feeding with Peter's 20-20-20, and then we also increase the watering. We water a little more, and we water maybe once a week. I'm Jos Roozen from Radio Garden Sense, and these are some tips on your house plants.